Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out with Billy Nelson ahead of Lewis Crocker versus Tyrone McKenna. Billy, how you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to hear, good to hear, good spirits. It got a little bit fiery in the ring there at the first face-off. We expecting that?
It is what it is, isn't it? Two proud guys for Belfast going to be fighting to see who's the best welterweight in the city.
Two proud guys indeed. What's the scout report on Tyrone McKenna? We've seen him, experienced fighter, loves to get into a war as well too. Do you think that's something that'll play into Crocker's advantage? To Crocker, a fighter who's got all the skill and ability?
It doesn't really matter what Tyrone brings. Lewis will nullify whatever he brings. If he boxes, he'll stop him later. If he comes to the war, then it's going to be curtains very early.
Do you feel this is the type of fight where if Lewis does really well, look, he's had good fights previously, but he hasn't quite had the spotlight yet. This will bring the spotlight on him and push him further up the ladder and keep his name in people's mouths when it comes to getting better opportunities.
Well, of course, the winner will move on to something bigger and better, and that's obviously what we're looking for. We're looking to go the whole way with Lewis, and I believe he can go all the way.
In terms of Tyrone McKenna, his past fights, do you feel that the power may be a slight concern, or at least an attribute that you have to factor into the game plan?
Tyrone? Well, if he's not factored Lewis's power into his game plan, he's in for a rude awakening. Because in my opinion, he's in the top 3 heaviest punching welterweights in the world. He's by far the biggest, the hardest pound for pound puncher I've ever held a pass for, by far.
Sorry, I thought I had a little bit more there. But just going with that, obviously this fight has Battle for Belfast is the tag for it. Is it important not to fight with emotion here to get the victory as well, not get drawn into the battle as it were?
That won't happen, not on their side anyway. And if it does happen on his side, it's going to be to his detriment. Because he'll make mistakes and he'll just, once he lands flush, it's Tyrone. If he lands flush in Tyrone, nobody will have hit Tyrone as hard in his life.
We're on to a couple of things, get your thoughts on. First of all, the fight between Martin Bakole, won his last fight against Carlos Takam. You said that there was going to be an opportunity for him. We're waiting for the news about the opportunity. Is he going to be appearing on the Saudi December 23rd date or the February date next year?
Well, he's certainly not on the 23rd of December. Not through him. There was opportunities and we said yes on 4 occasions, and the 4 guys said no, I think, to Martin, and the 4 of them are still on the show. So maybe something will come out for February 24th, is it? 17th, something like that, 17th of February. So if an opportunity arises, we'll need to look at it.
The frustration there for Martin, who proved himself on that stage and not getting the opportunity that was maybe said that he would.
Well, he said he would, but you need 2 people to dance. You know, there was one major opportunity and somebody else got it. There was 2 other guys, and they've ended up going to be fighting each other, and one other guy just said no. So, you know, it was an eliminations kind of process, and the 4 people said no to Martin, and they're fighting. So maybe we'll get maybe, I don't know, we might get a chance in February. Something else might come up.
What's Martin said about it?
Martin will let me deal with
it. Look, obviously someone who got a bit of spotlight last time around, but had those frustrations. He's someone who takes it all in his stride.
Martin trusts me explicitly. I mean, we've brought him from 132 in the world to number 2, and you know he's earning life-changing money shortly. So why would you not leave that side to the people that are good at what they do?
The near 300-pound weight, that was obviously given a reason as to he had an injury in the camp, but he looked good at that weight. Is that something that maybe for some people, I guess maybe for yourself not so much, but is that something that you won't be doing going forward, keeping him at that weight?
100%. He'll lose 30 pound, maybe more, 35 for the next fight. 100%, dependent on the opponent, of course.
Get your thoughts on a couple of things in the wider sphere. First of all, on that December 23rd card features 2 fights, but not maybe the fights we want to see specifically in Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, but Anthony Joshua takes on Otto Wallin. A lot of people calling this a tricky fight for him. Is it a tricky fight? Is this a fight where Anthony Joshua can come through this with some adversity?
Well, undoubtedly it's a tricky fight because Otto Wallin's got a better... I mean, he beat Murat Gassiev and beat him well. And that's a better opponent who Anthony's had since he lost to Usyk. So, and it is a southpaw as well. So, but he must feel confident if he's had him in as a sparring partner. Nobody knows how those spars went, of course. but Otto Wallen would have said no to the fight if he didn't fancy his chances. So I think it's going to be a good, hard fight.
You see a route to success for Joseph Parker in his fight with Deontay Wilder?
I think that is a hard fight for Joseph. Obviously, Deontay Wilder's a big puncher, and I honestly wish Joe Parker all the very best, because a nicer man you couldn't meet in boxing.
Lee McGregor sent out a message recently, put out a statement. He said, look, alongside the frustration, he is still determined to be back in the ring and make the next year his year. Frustration period for him, but he'll be back next year better.
Listen, he got a grade 1 tear in his arm, which will be better maybe in a couple of weeks. Then he'll be back in the gym training. Hopefully, we'll get a date in February to fight Isaac Lowe. I mean, Lee was looking fantastic in the gym. He was sparring Nick Ball, the boy McGrail, Peter McGrail, and some of my boys, and he was looking fantastic. We've changed his style, and you're going to see a much improved Lee McGregor in the future.
Looking forward to seeing that in the ring. Welterweight division, that's where Lewis Crocker is. There have been some developments in the welterweight division, specifically with Conor Benn, who's had his license rejected, or at least an application rejected for that. What's your take on that, if you do have one?
I don't care about Conor Benn, to be quite honest. My sole interest is my welterweight, Lewis Crocker. And believe me when I tell you, Lewis Crocker would beat Conor Benn 7 days a week.
That's what I mean, though. In that sort of sense, you keep a target or an eye on Conor Benn because he's in the welterweight division, because he brings eyes, because he brings that paycheck too.
Well, it's not so much the paycheck. I just want to fight to beat him, and then we'll get his ranking. It's not just the paycheck. But once we take care of business on Saturday night, why not? This is a joint show with Jamie Conlon and Matchroom here. So why not make Conor Benn versus or the loser? Well, no, you couldn't make Eubank, because he'll never make 147. But I believe if Conor Benn, if he were to lose to Eubank, which I think he will, he'll go back down to 147, because 160 is no his true weight.
Why do you think Conor's never called out Lewis? Never mentioned his name?
Well, let me tell you, he is technically a far superior boxer to Conor, and punches harder, undoubtedly. I mean, let's be honest, it's all light welterweights and lightweights that he's been snotting out, and guys a wee bit over the hill. He's done it, and you got to give him credit for that. But he's the real deal, and he'll prove it on Saturday night.
Really final things to get your thoughts on, jumping back up to the heavyweights. A lot of people calling Fury Usyk a battle of physicality and fury, and about a skill in terms of Usyk. Is that a fair assessment of the fight? Who is the more skilled fighter out of the two?
I think they're pretty level pegging skill-wise, but then you've got to take in the size factor, and all round, I think Fury is the better fighter. He's a true heavyweight, bigger, stronger, longer reach. Usyk has got fantastic skills, but I know there is weaknesses there.
In that fight with Ngannou, people have been saying that his legs have gone, he's not the fighter, he's on the decline. His father said that as well too. Are we seeing the truth in that sense of a fighter that may be on the decline?
It's hard to tell. I think you'll certainly have a clearer indication against a top fighter in Usyk. So you'll probably have a better idea of that in February. But I don't think it's the case.
Will you leave the final word with you? What happens in Crocker McKenna this weekend?
That's easy for you.
It really wasn't.
I think Lewis will win the stoppage.
Really a pleasure. Thank you for speaking to Seconds Out. So all the best for the weekend.